Gamer Feed Radio.
Hello and welcome. This is Gamer Feed Radio. If you're just joining us, we're a weekly podcast discussing all things video games with particular emphasis on PlayStation and Nintendo consoles. This is episode 35. Today's featured discussion will be on downloadable content. We'll also check in at the save point to share our recent gaming exploits. We'll announce the winner of our first Shareware giveaway, and we have a special Valentine from a friend of the show. My name is Rob Pugh. I'll be our host. You can add me on PSN, where my username is Pugbert. Joining me here today, Gamer Feed Radio senior correspondent, Brad Wallace.
Hey! I was waiting for the music. Is there a
The music's gone. No,
the intro.
No.
No more intros?
No.
All right.
So you want to pimp your PSN name?
I am Brad Smack on
Brad Smack.
PlayStation.
Like
Add me. Like Godsmack, but with Brad.
All right. Also joining us, GFR's representative to the UN, Nick Delicate.
Oh.
Really?
Yep.
Apparently. Hi, everybody.
It all ties together.
Really? The UN?
Wait for it.
I'm waiting.
You want to drop the PSN name? Or
Yeah, it's Stanley, but it's a Y-E at the end.
Y-E.
Instead of an E-Y.
L-Y-E. Just to be different.
Got it.
It's deep.
I thought it was.
Yeah. So, as our representative to the UN, do you want to give us an update on global affairs?
Oh.
See, it all makes
I was
sense.
totally confused.
Well,
as
go
I
for it.
Look, I covet this Shulk amiibo. So
It is nice.
It is. So last month, in the month of January, in case you weren't paying attention to last week's episode, we talked about, and I actually posted a link on GamerFeedRadio.com and on the Facebook page about how the country of Sweden had surpassed some of our local
The United
viewers,
States of
which is
America.
crazy to me. So a continued shout out to our compatriots over in Sweden. And interestingly enough, too, this week, since the posting of our PC gaming show, we've had an interesting uptick in listening from the country of Saudi Arabia, which I'm told we have a army base there. So holla, shout out to all the men and women in uniform. We appreciate your service and your listening ear.
That's patriotic.
I thought so, too. And there's a whole bunch of smattering of other places, right? The UK, we've got some. Australia, we've got a couple more. Ukraine. So we're getting some France. We've got some representation from
Bonjour.
the other side of the pond. Bonjour. So yeah, but good stuff all around. So yeah, listening all over the place. It's great.
Anything from the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
There's nothing from Prince Matumbe.
Oh, but wait. Yes, there is.
Shut up. What is that? What? What is that?
See, I happen to receive, as regular listeners to the show will know that I'm a regular correspondent with Prince Mabuto Matumbo of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He sent me an e-card this week for Valentine's Day.
They still do that?
He's a sweetheart,
Yeah,
really.
He really is.
Heart of gold, that man.
E-cards still happen?
Yeah.
Wow.
Elf yourself, bruh.
Oh, no, that's
That's like Christmas, but that's like an e-card.
that's fun e-cards.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This is a fun e-card.
That's
So-
Clearly.
So he sent me a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air e-card.
Oh, God.
It says, it has Carlton on it, dancing,
Of course.
as he's wont to do. It says, it's not unusual to love your podcast.
Oh, my God.
He continues to write, I love you podcast. Keep good work. More shows from... Now, this is just... More shows from Brad. This is just gobbledygook right here. That's just... Something must have got lost in translation there. I don't know, man.
Oh.
You benevolent leader, Prince Mabuto Matumbo.
Oh, nice.
That is
the dancing. That's
really
man.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, and wait, is he missing an arm? Oh, it's cocked sideways.
No, he's dancing. He's
Okay.
right there.
You missing the Carlton?
Yeah, I know. I didn't see the arm. Sorry.
Classic.
Yeah.
It was
Love
good.
that show.
Valentine.
Yeah.
In West Philadelphia. Born and raised.
We have to pay for that.
Well, I'm not
How do you
singing
say
it.
the words
Yeah, I
and
can
use
say
it?
the words. It's not
I'm
copyrighted.
parodying it.
Yeah, comedy.
We're parodying the character of Carlton.
All over that pink piece of paper.
Yes.
You have good taste in colors.
We got to put this on the Facebook, on the website.
Oh, it'll go. Well, maybe
I'm going
it'll
to take
go
a
up.
picture of it and put it up.
He actually did inspire me to create some other e-cards, so I have done so. They will be up on the site. They're gaming related.
They're actually really good.
I doubt anyone's actually going to want to send them to a loved one or significant other
you never
or anything
know.
like that. But hey,
Brad has
there.
been arm twisted for less.
Maybe you'll get a chuckle out of them. Maybe not. I don't know. They'll be up by the time the podcast hits. So, yeah.
Lovely. Lovely.
So now on to more important things, shall we?
Important things.
We shall.
It is time to announce the winner of our first ever Shareware giveaway.
So tell them all about what they win, Rob.
Well, first of all, about the contest itself. Last week, regular viewers will know, and not necessarily everyone is a regular viewer, we had a big explosion in Facebook activity this week.
Yeah, we did.
So potentially people are coming in for the first time.
Yep, fair.
So those that aren't in the know, here's what we did. We had a contest last week where we put up a screenshot from The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, the original one. And we asked people to put a comment on it, to caption it. Basically, it was a caption contest. To put a comment on it, to like their comment, to share it so that other people would like it too, and the people with the most likes would win. So we left this up for a week.
Yep.
And we went away, and internet magic happened.
It's amazing, the interwebs.
It was a tight race there for a while. Well, not necessarily a tight race, but it was there was some back and forth there. There was some
long
drama.
shot black horse thing.
Yeah.
It's basically the Super Bowl.
It was our Super Bowl.
This is a Super Bowl of comments
Free
on
stuff.
Facebook. Giveaways.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
it's time to announce the winner. The final vote has been tallied. The poll has closed, and the winner of the first ever Shareware giveaway, GamerFeed Radio Shareware giveaway for The Legend of Zelda, that I should say that wins a copy of
Yeah.
The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D.
Yeah.
The winner is...
Wait, are you... Is there going to be a fanfare? No?
I'm
It's
going to
always
keep it
better
up.
if I have music.
You know what? Actually, I think I moved those fanfares off the soundboard.
Oh. Keep going. Drum roll. The winner is... That's pretty close. Matt Wade!
Hey!
Dun, 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 dun.
He also wins my heart for sticking up for me in my darkest hours of this show.
Truly did, right?
He saw the truth. He knew what I was about.
He promoted you, too.
He hasn't even met you, and so...
He's my spirit animal.
Once he actually meets you, he'd be like, God, that guy is such a...
He's like, oh, now I see. Now I see.
Such a pika.
I'm just kidding. Such a peak.
But seriously, though, Matt put up a good fight. Jeremiah had a nice...
Jeremiah.
early
Yeah, two
lead.
of our biggest fans.
Yeah.
Really.
But then...
Great guys, the both.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt pimped the crap out of that thing, though.
That's how you do it.
his whole
Future
Facebook
Shareware contestants.
Yes.
That's the winning strategy. Share that photo.
Every day. And let it be the only thing in your timeline.
Harass
Every day.
your friends.
I mean, he did. I've never seen anything. I have to give props. I'm not...
Hey, well, it paid off.
It sure did. I mean...
So a copy of Majora's Mask 3D well earned.
Will be sent soon.
Hopefully has been by the time he listens to this.
Oh, yeah, by the time he listens to this. Yeah, I guess I could...
By the time this gets up.
Could do that.
Okay.
Yay!
Good job. Good
Winning
job,
free
Matt.
stuff is good.
Congratulations.
GG.
GG.
Oh, my God.
WP. Well played.
Okay, so let's move on, shall we? It is time
We
to check
shall.
in at the Save Point. Save Point is a regular segment we have on our show where we tell tales of our gaming exploits and in the telling, save our progress. The idea being we talk about what we're playing right now. Kind of going along the lines of this week's feature presentation, the downloadable content presentation. I want to talk about what I've been playing lately, which has been Infamous Second Son and First Light, the DLC that goes with it. Yeah. So I was looking for something to play in my post Dragon Age malaise.
Depression, really.
Yeah, I mean, you play.
It's a withdrawal period.
You play something for 114 hours, and you need something else to go to. So,
Yeah.
Dear God.
so I picked,
Cold turkey. You just quit cold turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I picked up Infamous. I'd heard it was good. It's kind of my kind of game. Open world, running around, doing getting collectibles and unlocking
Shooting things from
and all
your
that.
hands.
Well, I mean, it was fun. It has the morality aspect of choose good decisions or evil decisions. Be the kind of character you want to be. That I really
Doesn't matter
enjoyed.
if lightning bolts are shooting out of your hand, okay?
It's fire, actually.
Whatever.
Smoke, really.
Things happen.
Smoke.
Things happening. But I really enjoyed it. It's well handled the way powers roll out over the course of the game. You have 3 basic power sets: smoke, neon, and video, each with their own pluses and minuses. And the way things, you kind of get more and more as you go. It's not just instantly everything there.
I'm shocked by that.
There's a real nice, even rollout throughout the game.
Well, at least they didn't do like a Metroid Prime mechanic where you start with everything and then you get stripped of it.
Yeah.
That would have been horrible.
Yeah. But I enjoyed it. I like the story. The way the motion capture really comes through. I know Brad and I have been talking at work about the work of Troy Baker.
Yeah,
who plays the main character here.
I'm just not a fan of him. Like that, I'm not that he's bad, because he's great. He's fine. It's just that he's the only voice actor that every single game hires.
I don't think that's his fault, though.
I know it's not his fault. It's just I'm so sick of him.
For those
like
people,
I'm so sick of hearing his voice, seeing his face everywhere.
Like back in the late '80s, '90s, Charlie Adler did all the animated cartoons,
right, and that comes with the
Adventures.
territory. Yeah, I'm aware that like voice actors, they're not a huge group. There's a select probably single-digit number of people that do the vast majority of game voice, like not including small NPCs or
of course.
But Troy Baker in general, his like rise to fame, if you can call it, it's just I don't know. Something about it rubs me wrong. Every interview I see, like he's just
sounds like a personal problem.
I don't understand, man. I don't understand where you're coming from.
Hey, it's like back in the day. People, it's easy to cast aspersions, but they're making millions and you're not.
It's true.
I'm just saying.
I'm not saying.
No,
yeah,
I know.
He's a perfectly great.
Yeah.
I loved BioShock Infinite. Thought that was great. Booker was his character.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't finish Last of Us, but that was pretty good. I just hate he's in Metal Gear now. He's in Uncharted. He was in Batman. He did this game, Infamous. It's a bit much. I'm having a Troy overdose.
Wow.
You're just trying there, aren't you?
I was trying.
It was good, and
real bad.
Matt will comment under this podcast. Brad, it's cool. Your puns are cool.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
Matt.
He'll do it.
Thanks for the support. Shout out to Matt Wade. Thanks for the subscribe. Hit like.
Yeah.
Means a lot. We're gonna start doing that. That's my new character.
Oh God, it's better than
Twitch/YouTube gaming personality.
Oh, God.
Brad Wallace. Hey, thanks. Means a lot. Subscribe, share, like, comment. Thanks a lot. Means a lot.
Love and
all.
kisses.
That's all.
Brad Smack.
But yeah, I really enjoyed Troy's performance in the game. You really felt the acting coming through the motion capture. I did anyway. Man, it really helped tell the story. And then on top of that, you get the First Light DLC, which
I did play.
free in January.
Yes.
Which is kind of side story, history on one of the other secondary characters
Generally didn't get
in the
very
game.
good reviews. Generally.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I
mean, it's I can understand. I haven't looked at the reviews, but I can understand where it's different. It's not well balanced. But I mean, as far as continuing her journey, I thought it did relatively well. It's just it wasn't really, you alternate between the flashback sequences and the current day, which is still a flashback, in the detention facility. And then things move on from there. No spoilers.
I do love their strategy with making it a standalone release.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we'll get to this more, but like DLC that requires you to have the original game, I'm just not a big fan of it. But anything that's like a smaller expansion, dare I say, something like Metal Gear Ground Zeroes, where it's a side story. It's not a main full game, but it's a cheaper, reduced price standalone package.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking of the old Infamous. It was called Festival of Blood. They had a standalone Infamous 2 DLC.
Okay.
But First Light is the same way. It's just a $10 mini version of Infamous. The fact that it was free, I mean, it's kind of hard to complain with free.
Yeah.
But I liked it a lot. I played Infamous 1, and I enjoyed it. I got it for free when the PlayStation went down the first time back in 2011.
How I got the original, and I played like 2 minutes of it. And was like,
I finished it. It's a fun game.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan. They had these... I was going to ask you. The first game had these comic book cutscenes where it was basically hand-drawn. Not hand-drawn,
yeah,
but like still 2D comic book imagery was their cutscenes. Is that in the new one?
Anytime they have a flashback...
First Light was that way, yeah.
It's hard to say, but both both pieces of story did the same thing that way.
Yeah.
But it's anytime there was a flashback from where you currently were in the story, which is hard to say since they're bouncing around through time anyway. But they would do that.
I'm just not a fan of all the Infamous games have like this anti-authority, like the government's watching us with cameras and blah blah blah.
Well, that's
it's like a little.
They are.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying
it's not. This
like
isn't
politically. Obviously, no one's for that.
This is not tinfoil hat.
No, yeah.
Here, I mean, this is there are stormtroopers out to get certain members of the populace.
Just saying, like the fact that it comes across as like an angsty, like trying too hard is really what I'm trying to get at.
You think really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some games you can do political messages. In fact, BioShock, it didn't feel too heavy-handed. It's very anti-capitalist, Ayn Rand, dystopia. But this game, it just feels a little too like pandering to like a caricature of Occupy Wall Street. Like, the rich people in the government and the blah, 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 and the... It just feels a little forced, just a little.
I don't know.
I never really paid attention to that. I just like, if it has a good story, I'll play it. If it doesn't, I'm over it.
I'm the opposite. I mean, I don't care about story really in games at all.
Well, that's why
it's literally like the last thing I
That's
care.
why you and RPGs don't get along, Brad.
Yeah,
about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
To each his own.
Let's move on to the feature presentation,
Sorry, I
shall
like
we?
the damper on things.
No, you didn't.
All right, so we're talking about downloadable content, not to be confused with DLC, which is our regularly recurring video segment that goes up on Mondays.
With hilarious outtakes that
go up on Wednesdays.
Brad making a complete idiot out of himself.
Yeah, that's basically what the outtakes
Often,
are.
pretty much. This last one was classic.
Wait, what?
It was classic. Something about I can't even repeat it on the air. That's how graphic it is. The last 30 to 45 seconds of that video is Brad while he's trying to crawl out of something or crawl into something. I don't know what he's doing. And then
so downloadable content.
Downloadable content.
Oh, the Nintendo
DLC.
Banana. Is that what you're talking about?
No.
That wasn't that was a DLC.
It was on DLC.
I'm sorry. I'm getting too meta here. We're talking about our own work.
Anyway, downloadable content.
Downloadable content.
What's that, Rob?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to start off this entire discussion. This is kind of where this feature grew out of. Mm-hmm. Evolve launched this week, which at one point the three of us all had on our release lists, and we were looking forward to and looking to get and all of that. And then something changed somewhere along the line that may be related to today's discussion. So I wanted to open the floor here first and chat a little bit about each one of us. What happened for us with Evolve?
Bradley.
It just has this, I'm sure people are well aware, but it has a disgusting model of you buy a $60 game at Walmart, on the PlayStation Network, like however you get it. You pay $60 for a game. Those are your hard-earned dollars. You work a job, 9 to 5 sometimes, not everyone. You put your hours in, you're doing your civic duty, you're paying your taxes to Uncle Sam, and you have your $60. You're ready to buy this game. You buy the game, you put it into your PlayStation, or you download it, you go to the main menu, and it's just trying to sell you more crap. It's trying to sell you the rest of the game. You get 3 characters and 3 monsters and 12 humans, hunters, in the base game. On day 1, you can buy a 4th monster for $15, making your $60 game into a $75 game. Literally on day 1. And each hunter that they add is going to be $7.
So basically, right?
Not to mention, there's tons of cosmetic DLC. You can buy, a pink gun for $3 or whatever.
Yeah, well, and Polygon actually did a really great article on this, and it drew a lot of headlines and competition comparisons out there. Originally, it was like $130 of extra.
Yeah,
they went back and redid the numbers because they said it's not fair to include some of the bundles that you can get because then it's like counting some items twice.
There was some overlap.
Yeah, there was some overlap. So they took the overlap out and it ended up being like $67 or something. But so the moral of the story is...
On top of the $60
On top of the $60 you pay.
You're still looking at a $130 game.
That is if you buy all the extra bells and whistles.
That's just insane.
Which is ridiculous.
Ridiculous. I can't see how anybody would look at that and seriously say to themselves that it's not like anti-consumer or like why would you buy?
Who's being all conspiracy now?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I mean, they're trying to nickel and dime people. I mean, but $60 game that should get you pretty far.
There was a statement and an article from an executive at I don't know if it was EA. I want to say it was EA. No, it's legit. And
No, I'm whining.
Oh, I'm just saying it. What you whining is legit. Because when you do, it's not.
But the DLC. That's me.
One of the executives was like, they were questioned by this source. It'll come to me later. And they were like, so do you think that adding in all these extra things is a good idea? And he goes, well, we're giving gamers more choice.
Yeah. That's been the official line on all of this so far.
That's like the business parsing of, we know there's enough suckers out there who will go buy a pink gun that I could totally pull this off. And instead, I don't disagree with you like customizing a character to make it your own. I think that's cool. But if it's a game like, Final Fantasy XIV or hell, even Dragon Age to a certain extent where you can customize your character a little bit and how it looks, that should be
a little bit.
A little. It should be included in the game. And, you pick up items out there and then it changes for you. Why don't... Destiny was the other one I was thinking you could do some things. Why can't that just be in the process? Why do you have to... Ooh, I don't like the shirt that they wear in every scene, so I'm going to go buy a polka dot ripped... It's just stupid.
Well, it's not... In this particular case with Evolve, it's not a matter of... Well, I mean, some of the skins are, yeah. But I mean, like, the Hunters, that's relatively legit. I think you could argue the $7. I would definitely argue the $7. But in terms of the skills, the weapons, it's as I understand, and all of this is theoretical since the three of us haven't bought the game. So keep that in mind as you listen.
But we're explaining why we haven't bought the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can get 2 retro console games on Virtual Console for that $7.
Yeah. I was thinking about that
2
today.
whole
I
games.
got Golden Sun for free on Club Nintendo for 250 coins. That's like 60 hours.
Yeah.
Of like pure...
And a great
It
game.
doesn't pop up and go, you
Which is
want to
RPG,
have more
so
lives
that's
for
weird for you.
$3? Yeah, I know. I love that game. It's more of a nostalgia thing. That's like one of the only JRPGs I've ever played.
Okay, it's legit.
But like it doesn't pop up every 2 seconds and go, hey, you want to download a party member for $7? Do you want to download a different colored cape for $3?
dumb.
Do you want to
so
like
dumb.
popping up? It's like, I already gave you my money. Like, shut up, go away. Like, go back to your like.
Hence
gross.
why I'm not
I hate
buying
it.
it.
I vowed against, not to, spoiler alert here. I vowed to never buy any piece of DLC for any game ever again. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Really where my wallet is.
And you, Brad Wallace, one man, will make a difference.
I will make a difference.
Well, Brad and perhaps the other...
Well, I haven't missed out on anything. I bought Skyrim, and I didn't download any of those packs, and I had a blast with it. Played 60-some hours of it.
And perhaps the average 130, 150 or so people that listen every single week repeatedly may agree. So, a small but mighty
Let's
contingent.
rise, all 100 of us.
Vive la resistance!
Anyway.
Anyway.
The only thing I like is when they do, like I just said, like standalone, separate spin-off. Like even Assassin's Creed did that. They have a Freedom Cry or something like that. I forget what it's called. It's like a spin-off of their pirate game, where you play in like a smaller map, I think, and like less objectives.
Adiwale's side story.
Yeah,
After story, I think. I'm not familiar. I didn't
like
actually
that stuff's
get it.
cool. It doesn't take away from the main game, or it doesn't feel like when you play the game you're missing out. But like. Even as early as like Prince of Persia 2008 on Xbox 360, literally you could download the epilogue of the game for $10. And it's like
so
the ending
dumb.
of the game is DLC.
That's stupid.
Like the story has this cliffhanger, and then they make you buy the ending for. It's like, what on earth?
Well, the good thing about this is
It's like, do you go to see a movie in theaters, and then they go, well, the ending's on the Blu-ray. You go like, it's like, well, no, like I paid, get the whole thing.
But the point that you're making is a point that we've echoed on this podcast many, many, many times, which is eventually it's going to not be worth doing. I mean, there's going to be a revolt at some point. We've argued about, poor game design, rushing things. Part of the reason why DLC is on the rise, to say nothing of the money grab that it really is intended to be, no matter what these people say. So frankly, it's going to fall flat on its face at some point. People are going to wise up, and they're saying, no, I'm not going to buy your crap anymore. I'll wait till you give it to me for free on my annual subscription with PlayStation Plus or Xbox Gold, and I'm done with you.
Well, even Ubisoft got a wind of that during the Unity, crisis or whatever you want to call it.
That's
the
Unity crisis. I like
Unity
that.
crisis. The game was in a shoddy state at best. It wasn't totally broken, but it was far from complete bug, not even bug free. Because every game's gonna have a bug here or there, but this
They
game
had some glaring
by many.
issues.
I've never owned it. I never bought it, but by many accounts was
Rob
not
wrote a great article about it.
They had they wrote they were building an engine from the ground up, and they didn't field test it enough.
It's because of these hardcore deadlines. You got to get it out by this fall. But they're selling a season pass DLC alongside this essentially half-finished game. So it's like, well, what message are you sending? You buy a game for $60, Assassin's Creed Unity, at Walmart, like I said. You've already paid your taxes. You got everything out of the way. It's time for your leisure time, your spare money. You go and get it. It's kind of shoddy, and then they pop up in the game. You got to open the treasure chest. In order to open the treasure chest, you got to pay 99 cents, whatever it is. Like, that kills me.
Yeah.
But the fact that they have the season pass, and then they owned up to it and started making it free, or they give away other games for free if you bought it.
If you'd already bought it, you got something else for free. If you didn't buy it, you got it for free. Basically, as the overall mea culpa for screwing up.
Yeah. And honestly, I think we've talked about this just last episode, maybe it was 2 episodes ago, where I think they'll see that in this year's Assassin's Creed. Maybe it was a DLC. The biggest disappointments. Check it out.
Yeah. It was a DLC.
This year's Victory is what it's kind of codenamed right now.
Yeah.
And it's going to be not a flop, but it's definitely going to be slower slump sales than...
Yeah, we actually did talk about this in a DLC, but it got cut off. This was in DLC 5.
Director's cut. This is the DLC to the DLC. You gotta listen to this episode to get the rest of that episode.
No,
to summarize, it was. I was the one making the point. The topic was, what do you think are going to be the biggest disappointment games in 2015? My point was that, as much of a softball as it may be, that Assassin's Creed would be a disappointment this year. Well, duh.
Water will also be wet this year.
Yes.
The rain is raining.
But my point was, one, because it was such a fiasco last time, and two, because this year they're going to Victorian age England, and they're not going to be the first ones getting there by the time they get there. Since The Order's doing it, and Bloodborne is also doing it.
Victorian England.
So in terms of virtual tourism, that's going to be played out by the time you get to October or November if they have to delay it again. Which it sounds like they're more confident that this one's going to hit on time, just because what I predict is that since it's the same engine that they're only just now perfecting, it's going to be like they're going to play super conservative this year.
Yeah.
It's just going to be reskinned Unity basically with all the fixes, and then it'll probably crank out on time. That's just my hunch.
Yeah.
All right, so discussing
we were talking
Evolve.
about Evolve that whole time.
Yeah. Discussing Evolve all comes down to the DLC. Let's delve into DLC as a whole, a little bit more in depth, and discuss through where we think it's successful and where we don't. So, DLC downloadable content gives game makers a way to add new game modes, objects, levels, challenges, and other features to a complete and already released game. It allows them to add longevity onto it just for the sake of getting the obvious definition out of the way.
A very nice way of saying rape your wallet.
Yeah.
If you prefer that, yeah.
I'm going to go just brass tacks. It's raping your wallet.
All right, so going from a historical perspective, DLC was arguably first seen back in the days of the Atari 2600. This was news to me. Via the Game Line service, which was a downloadable service. Basically, you got a modem. You subscribed to it. You got a modem you could plug into your 2600, and you could dial up through a phone line and download games that way. For a nominal fee, you'd have 5 to 10 days or so to play a game, and then you would have to resubscribe, or you could get a different game. They gave out free games on your birthday, which I thought was kind of neat. And they also offered different...
Wait, gamers were appreciated at one point?
Huh?
Liar.
Companies rewarded their loyal customers.
I don't believe you.
And they also had contests for competing for high scores that they could track through this, the going back and forth between your console and the server where it was all managed through. You had to connect through. Sega also did this during the Genesis era. There was via the Sega Channel, where you could get downloadable content over the cable line. They actually had a deal with Time Warner Cable and TCI as providers for a $15 monthly fee. There's a $25 activation fee, one-time activation fee. Of course. But you could play Genesis games online. You could get access to demos, and you got access to cheats that way.
Huh.
So all back in the good old days, or at least the old days.
Yeah, it was definitely not good.
the old days.
Continuing forward from a historical perspective, the Dreamcast was the first console to natively support DLC through its narrowband connection.
And everybody played. Oh wait,
well,
Phantasy Star Online had DLC.
I loved
they had episodes.
The whole series of Phantasy Star was amazing.
We got to do. I'm going to announce it right here. We got to do a Phantasy Star Online, not Phantasy Star as a whole, because I never played the Genesis or Master System.
I played
games.
Phantasy Star 2.
But Phantasy Star Online. I want to do a show on that
That could be fun.
or something. I could talk about that game forever. It's like a good Destiny.
Wait, you talking about things forever never happens. I think. Are you sure you're not? 'Cause I think that RPG show is right where that fits in.
It's not a JRPG though. It's an action real time.
I'm giving you crap.
Yeah.
I get it.
I got it. It's a great game. Top 10 games ever.
Oh my!
You know it was
So
coming.
if you've been keeping track, what episode is this? 35.
How many times has
There's
something
been a
in
top
my
10
top 10
game since Brad's been on the air, which was what?
Like 7.
August, September. So he's done at least 20 of these. So he has 20 games in the top 10. I'm pretty sure that mathematically does not compute.
Don't worry about it.
Oh,
I'll publish the top 10 games on the website.
I don't
How about
believe
that?
you.
I'll make good on my promise right here. Sorry.
I look forward to it.
Good.
so the Dreamcast was the first console to natively support DLC, and then everything kind of blew up once the Xbox hit and Xbox Live became a thing. And then Sony followed with their PlayStation Store. Nintendo eventually got on board with their eShop. And that's kind of where things are now, where everything runs through the individual stores. So in terms of different categories of DLC, first there is what I'm terming substantive DLC. It's not necessarily always story DLC, although that's a term that gets thrown around a lot. But basically where you get like full levels, modes, a new chunk of story, things like that. Big, meaty chunks of new gaming content. So let's talk through some of the meatier DLC offerings we've played through. I've got a few listed on here. I thought Last of Us had a really good chunk of DLC via the.
What was that called? Left Behind or something like that?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But it was a
It's included in the PS4 run.
It
right?
is in the remastered, and that's the great thing about remastered editions is you get the DLC added in.
Yeah, any Game of the Year or Ultimate Edition or any of that.
Yeah.
And that's if you're a patient gamer, it pays off.
Yeah.
Like that's the moral of the story with DLC.
In other words, if you're Brad and you wait, then you technically don't have to buy DLC. Like you said, it just happens.
It just happens.
But The Last of Us had it was kind of a prequel, kind of an in-between-quel. It fits within one of the chapters in the actual main narrative. But the events of it take place beforehand, but there are a bunch of flashbacks and flash forwards and all of that in there too. Deus Ex, I thought, was a really good one in that when I played the director's cut of that, I didn't even notice when I was in the DLC because it was so well woven into the storyline that I didn't notice that this entire huge chapter of the game was originally offered as DLC.
Well, what's weird about that, speaking of like director's cuts and Ultimate Editions, the last DLC heavy thing I played was Borderlands. I had the vanilla game on Xbox and then sold my Xbox and sold the game. And then a couple years later, or just like a year-ish later, I bought the Game of the Year edition on PS3. And it came with all 4 or 3 at the time, or whatever it was, downloadable content packs. And it was the opposite. Like you said, it was well integrated in Deus Ex. But in Borderlands, you hit, like, I forget what level. It's like level 10. And then, like, 50 new quests pop up. And they're all the DLC quests. Like, they all just, flood your quest log at once. It felt weird. And you have to, go to these separate areas to do the DLC. It's not in the main game, world. They're, these separate little mini sandboxes. And I don't know. I didn't think it was done very well. And as such, I did not really play the DLCs. Even though it came with my Game of the Year edition.
Oh.
But, that was the last game I played. Unless you count New Super Luigi U, which was a standalone-ish kind of thing.
Yeah, I
I would say so.
But that was the actual last
remix.
one I've ever bought. Yeah.
Kinda. So one of the challenges with doing substantive DLC like this, anything that really matters, is that you run the risk of splitting the user base. One of the big places we've seen that recently was with Destiny, when they released the new content patch back in December, and all of a sudden, everybody basically that didn't pay for the DLC is out in the cold when it comes to Nightfall Strikes that week.
Nightfall and all the weeklies, the raid bonuses, and all that business. Yeah.
So, and Battlefield 4 had a similar problem with the premium edition of that, where you've got a multiplayer environment where not everyone is able to participate because some of it's through the DLC.
And actually, to throw Evolve a bone, they specifically said that their hunter and monster stuff won't split the user base.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be done. And actually, I would applaud them for that. Is that you can still play with the vanilla characters with people that have the DLC characters. You just can't select to play as those characters, obviously. But you can still play with them. So that's nice. Because back in the day, I had Halo 3, and they had like 3 map packs, I want to say. Probably more. But all the playlists at some point just started to become DLC only, and you stopped being able to play the game online for the most part.
Yeah.
And that was a shame, because it's one of the best multiplayer games ever.
Yeah. So that's substantive DLC, as opposed to cosmetic DLC, where it's kind of lighter fare. Skins, outfits, weapons, things like that, that arguably don't matter quite so much. So they're kind of able to get away with a little bit more there.
I like that they don't impact the game, like the design and like the progression of the game. But at the same time, it still feels gross. Like when you're like I said, you pay your hard-earned $60, and then it's trying to sell you more stuff while you're playing it.
Well, but I think an example of a game where that works though is like Child of Light. So you pay like $12 or $15 for the game, and then they offered packs where you could get gems that you can mix for different powers later on. So you can get them a little earlier in the game than usual. You can change the outfits and other things. And some of them were like $1.99, some of them were $5, depending on what you want. See, that to me is a choice, right? Like if I want to pony up, that doesn't bother me so bad because my investment was small. But if it's $60, it better be in there. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference to me is the
even going even
value
further.
do I get?
We just talked a lot about free to play like Dota and League of Legends. In League of Legends, you're actually paying for characters, which is a little different. But in Dota, the entire game you can play for free, every character right out of the box, and not pay a penny. They only charge you for cosmetic changes. You can buy different weapons and armor sets and things. And that's the right way to do it for a free-to-play game, where you still get, which Evolve is almost designed as, funny enough, where the game itself is intact. You get 100% of the features. It doesn't split the user base in any way. And you're only paying for things that you choose, is almost as a way of tipping the creator. It's not even so much that you want this colored gun. It's not going to change your experience dramatically, I wouldn't say. Maybe for some people, they really need a pink gun in order to play Counter-Strike or something. But it's a way of like tipping, Valve for saying, hey, I've played 1,000 hours of Dota. I really like it. I bought, all these character, outfit packs just to support you and support and especially with esports, there's a big pool of prize money in tournaments. So people are paying in, getting cosmetic rewards, but then that becomes kind of the prize pool for the whole tournament. So,
okay, so what does it take for paid DLC to be worth it to you? Where's your value threshold lie?
Like I said, right? I mean, if the game's cheap and you're giving me options and I care, okay, I'm all right with that. If cheap being like $10, $15, I don't have a problem with that. But I'm totally on board with Brad. Listen, if I pay for a full-price AAA title, then part of the definition of AAA, in my opinion, is it has everything that I could possibly want and more. Or raise the price of your games and charge more, which is going to happen eventually anyway.
The tragedy of this whole thing.
And include the stuff. If I'm going to pay for it anyway, just raise the damn price, and eventually the user base, right, the install base will get used to the higher price. I mean, I'm shocked this generation they didn't go up from the last generation.
Right, this is the cheapest games have been, even with inflation and
except for Nintendo. It's always been cheaper.
Yeah. But, same thing. I mean, gosh, I don't know. I want to keep ranting.
No,
sorry.
You're not ranting.
I'm taking a pause.
No.
Actually, I will say, multiplayer games, it doesn't bug me as much. So long as it doesn't split the user base, Evolve style, which is actually, like I just said, one of the rare things that's done right in the whole Diablo or DLC mess. But multiplayer doesn't bug me because it's not taking away from your start to finish single player experience where it has a beginning, middle, end. Like I said, I'm not crazy about story, but I still don't want to feel like I'm missing out on levels and experiences that obviously the creators want you to have.
I think this is a great experiment. I want you to play a game where the end is only available via DLC and you can't get there and tell me that you loved it. It would be righteous indignation.
Yeah. it's brutal.
Yeah. I don't think we'd ever see you again. You would just jump off the side of the building pulling your hair out.
It'd be a very angry email.
Oh, my God. Do people still do that,
No.
Okay.
People don't do that.
Just checking.
But I mean, I think for me, at least in terms of where does my value threshold lie? One of the problems I had with Evolve was that you get, there's 3 monsters. In order to get the 4th, you have to lay out $15 for it.
And there's no way to get in-game?
There's only 3. No.
See, that's ridiculous. Like, if it was a difficulty level that surpassed your capability, as a gamer, like you couldn't do it if you're younger, and it would just, or you have to do like a full completion of a certain thing in order for it to be unlocked, and you just wanted to skip that, I actually don't have a problem with that. Right? Because if you feel like you're missing out on something and you're willing to cough up $9.99 or whatever for a stupid monster because you don't want to go through all that drama, great. If that's going to make your experience, I think that's fine. But not giving people options, that's ridiculous. That's where I get upset with it.
And part of the problem is the design of the game itself is built around
the monsters.
DLCs. The monsters, but by extension DLC.
Yeah.
Like, even in story-based games, like you'll see, I think Assassin's Creed had it where you could like level up your characters. I know Battlefield has done that, or like you level your stuff up, and you pay a price. I mean, you're basically admitting to everyone, like the design of the game is to grind XP, but you can pay more money to get out of it, basically. It's like saying we designed something crappy. You can pay to not have to go through the crap.
Well, that's up next on the agenda. Then let's head into the nasty world of microtransactions,
which I'd argue they all are.
One of which are time savers, whether they be the things like that where you're buying off skills or whatever it may be, or ammo drops or whatever. But they kind of introduce a kind of a pay to win scenario. Where it's just, this is your progression. If you want to drop some real-world money for it, you don't have to struggle through it.
Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything good to say about microtransactions.
I would agree with that. That's why the loaded question I have for here is, are microtransactions the devil or just the spawn of the devil? Is this a Damien situation?
Damien?
I feel like we hashed this out way back on episode 5, I think it was.
It was way back in the day, and I'll tell you... I think we nailed it then, and I honestly, I don't know. It's like a mic drop. I mean, just...
Microtransactions. Boom.
It's the thing that'll lead, like, literally, not to sound, too cynical, but that's the thing that leads to, like, a video game bust. Is, like, everyone stops paying for all this crap. Like, why would I keep giving you more money for badly designed products that push more money? Like,
Well, here's a question for you, then. Why is it that this doesn't hit the fan more often than it does? Remember the big fuss over Dungeon Keeper?
You remember the big fuss over horse armor? Like, Oblivion?
Yeah.
Like, it was a punchline back then, but now on the App Store... I mean, Apple literally just this week, to date the podcast, even though it's ish live this week. I forgot about this week. It's going to be, like, on time.
This is for real.
This one's going up as soon as we hit stop.
Yeah, Apple's promoting games on the App Store that don't have in-app purchases. Like, literally, there's a whole section on the App Store where it's, I forget what the actual banner is called, but it's something like complete games. Like, actual, like you pay $7 and you get Knights of the Old Republic. And it doesn't bug you every 10 minutes to buy a new party member for 30 cents.
Your kid won't accidentally spend $500,000 of your money.
That's the way it should be. I mean...
Well, but if you think about it, though, too, the monetization scheme behind that is to raise the price over what the other one would be. It's like Spotify. If you pay, you can get it for free, but if you pay, there's no ads.
Yeah.
So you're saying they're equating microtransactions to ads, and they're saying if you pay just a little bit more, then we won't bug you with them.
Yeah, and that actually doesn't... That's a decent model, is having the free version ad-supported and the paid version ad-free. That's actually... And even for music.
Of course,
like Pandora and Spotify, whatever.
Even though all the artists are running for the hills with it now, but whatever.
But, like, when you pick up a novel from the library or, like, at Walmart, you go to their Walmart book section. It does exist.
Walmart. You and Walmart.
I got to keep harping on Walmart. But you go to your Walmart bookstore section and you buy your copy of 50 Shades of Grey, and you're not getting freaking, like, Trojan ads and, like, all this stuff. Like, they're not trying to sell you on crap, like, while you're... It's like, at some point, the entertainment should just be, like, its own thing. I don't know. It's like product placement in movies. It's gotten so bad. You see the new Transformers?
No, I didn't.
Or Mark Wahlberg?
I did not.
It's like they're in, like, Times Square
It's
or
like
something.
The Price is Right.
Yeah, well, they, like, knock over this truck of Budweiser, and, like, the beer spills all over the street, and he goes over and picks one up and cracks it open, and, like, logo facing the camera, and he's like, oh, yeah.
Oh, well,
And it's like this commercial in the middle of the movie. It's literally like a Bud Light commercial. It's crazy.
Well, they've always been like that, though. They had the in the first one they had like the Mountain Dew machine and the Xbox. Both got turned into Transformers.
Nothing makes you want a Budweiser like giant Michael Bay explosions.
It's just, I don't know. I feel like it should be kept separate. Like, let me, in general, the philosophy should just be like, give me a complete product. Don't bug me anymore. Like, let me do it at my own pace. Don't try to sell me on more crap. You already got my money. That's what your marketing and advertising is. Like, that's the sell. The sell shouldn't be once you get the game to sell you even more stuff.
Well, I mean, that's the evil capitalism in there, right? That we talked about earlier at the top of the show. Evil.
Yeah.
I'm totally shaking my head in disbelief. I'm just saying.
Nick is a bleeding heart communist.
I am so not. I am the antithesis of that, but...
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. So next up, let's talk on-disc DLC.
Oh.
Ready to launch content, ready at launch content, I should say, that's locked behind a paywall. It's there on the disc. It's there on day one. All you need to do is fork over.
This should actually be illegal. I think there's a case to be made for on-disc DLC being illegal. I mean, you paid for the physical disc. You paid for the files, in theory. Obviously, there's licensing and blah, 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 blah. But you basically buy this thing, and you have to pay more money to use the thing you already own that you already paid for. You're basically paying for the same content twice.
Yeah, so wait a minute. What in other than the link on Hyrule Warriors, what was on the disc that you couldn't access or play?
I think this is just talking about amiibos.
That's that we haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, okay.
No,
Sorry, I was confused. I mean, okay, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, on disc
I'm down too
DLC,
far.
Resident Evil 5 had the worst. They had a whole multiplayer mode that was literally printed on the disc, meaning it was ready weeks before launch.
Yeah,
and you have to pay twice for that content. You buy the disc,
agree
and then
with
you
you.
buy a 5 kilobyte key to unlock it, essentially.
I agree with you. That's silly.
I feel like that should be illegal. I mean, I can't even think of a reason why you'd defend that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of a fuzzy line anymore because everything is so connected and everything has a day one patch that it's arguable. They could make the argument, oh, it's not. It wasn't on the disc. It was on the day one patch. It wasn't there already.
No, I
You
mean, in some
chose to
cases it
download the
literally
patch.
is.
I know it is,
Yeah,
but I'm just saying it's nowadays it's not as cut and dry as it used to be, where it is printed on the disc, day one, it's there, and you have to pay to get to it.
I don't know.
It's gotta go.
I think it's evil. Like, it's literally like pure evil. I can't think of like something that's scammier in the video game industry.
It's pretty bad.
Like,
that's pretty bad.
I don't know. It'd be like, I can't even think of an equivalent of like paying for something that you already have to be able to use it. Like, I literally can't think of an example of like a household appliance. Like, imagine you bought a microwave and then you had to pay a licensing fee every time you touched 30 seconds for your pizza. And then I can't even think, like, it's so stupid. It doesn't even like make sense to me.
You can actually liken it to cable.
That's what I was thinking, actually.
Because you pay a certain price, even though there's more channels available, but we're not going to give them to you unless you pay up.
Well, in a service, it's different because you're paying for goods and like goods versus services.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that's the.
Yeah, no, as a service, fine. Even downloading and streaming, like, obviously that makes different sense. I'm talking about, like, you bought the physical item of the game, and you can't use it until you pay them again.
It's like all those terms and conditions on your iPhone when you say, I want iTunes access or I want to use the App Store, that nobody reads. And that's in there.
Yeah.
So it's our own damn fault.
Yeah, you don't own your music on iTunes.
Yeah, it's our own damn fault.
I would never argue that you do own it.
Even though you pay
You're
99
licensing
cents.
it. You're paying to use it from Apple.
It's a joke. That's all. It's just a joke.
But specifically, it just bugs me.
Yeah. If you want to keep
the
accessing
physical, the physical disc.
Yeah. That's terrible. I agree. Horrible.
All right, next up, and I kind of add this in the same section because it's kind of I would argue this is kind of off disc DLC. The amiibo peripheral-based
him home with
DLC. No, you are not.
I'm taking him.
You have one in the mail. Just wait
No,
for
he's
it.
mine.
Nick is coveting my Mega Man amiibo.
He's so cool.
It is really nice.
But arguably, and I don't know exactly how this works as to whether it's just. I mean, I guess it's just it once it recognizes that you've got the amiibo, it unlocks something that I would guess has been patched into the game. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, and Mario Kart especially, because that
Yeah.
game was out months before these.
So it's already there. It's just that once you need to pay the $13 for the figure to unlock it.
Yeah, but but even before Amiibo were integrated with Mario Kart 8, for example.
That was already a full product.
Yeah, and
mind.
they released any DLC that they did release is, I think, the way it should be. You got a cart, a character, or 2 or 3, and you got
I think
a
that's
track.
a multiplayer game.
Well, see,
yeah.
that's going by our list of things here so far. The things like the Mercedes stuff was all free, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was so gross.
If you like gray, metallic-y looking Mercedes-Benz.
But it was something, and it was there, so people got it. Then you got the actual kart tracks, which was, in my mind, about as substantive as you can get.
It was good.
It was $7. A fraction of the price of the full game, but you got a fourth of the content.
Yeah, well, no, it's and you get what you pay for. I mean, for real, get what you pay for. You got an entire course, like when they did the Zelda track, they added the whole, the Triforce Cup and the other cup. And you have access. It extends the life of the game, which I think is brilliant. It keeps people playing in the environment, interfacing with your IP, the characters, in some cases the storyline, particularly in the case of Hyrule Warriors. It's just done well. You're getting something for it. That I could still beat the game without it. I could still go and complete the story without it. It just enhances the experience for people who like replayability and want to go back. Mm-hmm. And I think that's fine.
Yeah.
And those two games are particularly well suited for that.
Hyrule Warriors is working really well with that.
Because phenomenal.
They
success.
just keep it's I would argue cosmetic DLC, the things they're rolling out. Although the argument can be made when you get something like Epona, that's fairly there's some substance there. I mean that's not
you got Tingle
too shabby.
DLC coming
But I mean it's generally like small little bits, little things here and there, but they just keep rolling it out and it's constant and it's. The trick is that at what point does it become slimy? At what point does it become in your face?
Yeah, I already think it is. I didn't buy the Mario Kart. I mean, obviously, if you're looking at the value of the tracks, there's a lot of value there. $7 for 4 tracks. Is that what it is? Or is it 8
plus
tracks?
It was 8, yeah.
Yeah, 8 tracks.
Plus the carts.
Plus
the characters.
3 new characters?
I mean, totally good value there. I didn't buy it. I don't support those business practices.
Oh, my God.
But I mean, with regards to Hyrule Warriors,
but Hyrule Warriors, I think it is kind of pushing the line. I mean, or pushing the whatever. I don't know. But it's getting close to being like. There's so how much have you looked into this? How much would it cost to buy every piece of DLC for Hyrule Warriors?
I really haven't looked into it.
It's probably
a high. But when you're in that game, the thing that's interesting and what works about it, I think, and why certain people are okay with it, is the same reason why Amiibo has been successful. I'm not interested in playing the witch, but I want to play as Tingle because I think it would be funny. Then I'm going to wait until the character I want comes in, then I'm going to go buy it.
Yeah.
And that way, I'm okay with it because it's giving that person a choice. They have a preference. They're going to wait until their preference is met, and then when they buy it, they get something for their $1. I think that's fine, just like Amiibos.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the successes in the sales. I mean, Hyrule Warriors sold more than 1 million units already. Who would have thought? I mean, the game was supposed to be a joke.
And because they keep rolling them out, they keep spacing them out masterfully, I would say.
Yeah, the timing is
excellent. You keep
excellent.
thinking about it.
Yeah, it just keeps coming up every other couple of weeks. You see a story about the new DLC. It gets leaked. They talk about it on Nintendo Direct. And then it comes out and you're like, that's kind of cool. Oh, yeah, I still own that game.
I would have loved to have seen a free-to-play Hyrule Warriors where maybe you only get like Link with a sword. And then you can buy every other character for like $5 or whatever it is,
and then only play as the characters that you wanted.
Yeah, I mean that, but
that's interesting.
It's kind of close to Evolve, not quite as sparse as Evolve, but the fact that they're selling so much with that game, it's kind of grossing me out. And Nintendo used to be like the shining beacon of like our games are good, they're complete, you buy it, we don't bug you.
Well, but they're
now
but it's a
their
licensed
financials
title.
are
That's the difference. It's not a first party. It's licensed.
Yeah, maybe that is it. But even the first thing the first game I specifically remember was Fire Emblem Awakening. They had DLC packs.
It did have DLC packs.
I think that was the first DLC Nintendo ever did.
It was early on for sure.
Or one of the first.
One of the first.
But it felt kind of weird then. It just didn't feel Nintendo-like to me.
Yeah, I didn't buy it for that reason.
Yeah.
And you didn't need it to complete the story. And,
yeah, that's true. And
I enjoyed that game very much.
even something like Pikmin, they had challenge maps where they're separate from the game. They're just... another example I just thought of, Mirror's Edge has like time trial maps where they're not in the story, but you're just buying more stuff like that. I didn't buy them once again because I don't support the business practice. But they're good because they don't add to the story in any way. You don't feel like you're missing out. They're literally extras. But so much of this feels like it's like integral part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird.
It's fair.
It's a tricky tightrope to walk.
I think they've kind of crossed the line on Hyrule Warriors, to be honest.
Yeah, it feels a little milked at this point.
But I think I was mentioning this to Rob earlier in the week, but it's almost like they know the hardcore players that are the type of people that would buy Hyrule Warriors. It's not a mass appeal game necessarily, even though it did sell 1 million units.
It's all very well.
But those are the kinds of players that they know they can basically milk for all these characters.
Well, but I think
you wouldn't get that in necessarily any other Nintendo game.
But one of the other things that makes Hyrule Warriors in particular really different for Nintendo was sort of their first foray into taking a significant IP and migrating it to a completely new concept. It's not the first time that they've moved. Link. They did some stuff with Four Swords Adventures, for example, when they did the Capcom years, and it got all cutesy with the graphics, and some people hated it. But
handing it over to another developer.
Exactly. Letting someone else kind of play with the formula a little bit. And there's been some really amazing pieces on the blogosphere out there about, should anything in Hyrule Warriors be considered canon? And there's a great debate going on about whether or not, not that it fits into the timeline from the Hyrule story perspective, but the story about, the Triforce being guarded by an actual person, which is always kind of implied in the story, but never really, you don't see them. Is that what this is? Does the twist in the story that happens, is that real? It's an interesting line of debate that's going on. I'm not saying I particularly agree with it, but it's generating that kind of conversation, which for a franchise that gets a lot of crap, there's the traditionalists like me, I want Triforce, I want formula, I want dungeons, I want. And then there's the other side, I hate all of that, I want you to mix it up. It's good for the series. It's good for the series.
Yeah. I think the story is the worst part of Zelda by a long shot, but I thought they wrote off, I haven't played Hyrule Warriors, I'll admit. I mean, I've played it, I don't own it, I should say.
Hey, did you beat it?
But, no.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm just saying, didn't they kind of, it's like a dream world. It's not part of the series, isn't it? Like it's like a time portals and there's alternate dimensions and
yeah, it's kind of one of those.
It's like Super Smash Brothers where you just kind of it's pretend playtime.
It's one of those like tie-in show crossovers things where like everybody comes and visits Bayside High or whatever. I don't have a good
shout out to
off
the
the top
Tonight
of my-
Show, Jimmy Fallon.
But, where, everything's crossing over and at some point you just have to throw logic out the window and just be like, oh, yeah, okay, sure. They all met up.
But the struggle
time
in
portals.
that story I liked a lot.
Yeah.
It was good. For me, I enjoyed it. Shockingly.
All right, so let's move on, talk about season passes a little bit. Basically, any number of the things we've talked about so far, except there's bundle pricing for upcoming DLC packs that you haven't gotten yet.
We'll bust your balls a little bit less if you pay us up front. It's like extortion. I
No,
mean, it's
but
I think it's garbage.
honestly, I agree with you. But you know what? It's the same strategy that telecommunication providers have been
oh yeah, I mean, if
selling their snake oil and carts and
exactly,
buggies
that's
for
the perfect way to put
200 years.
Yeah.
Hey, if you bundle price, you'll save $15. But you're really getting screwed because of all the taxes. So the advertised price is really $20 less than you really pay.
You're basically betting that the DLC is going to be good. It's like pre-order, but you can't take it back. And
Yep.
like, what on earth? Who is that for? But it's clearly working. There's enough suckers
But if the
out
hype
there.
machine is real, and Destiny is a particular one, right?
Yeah, I was about to say.
People jumped all over that.
Yeah.
When are people going to learn?
When you get burned enough times.
Well, I think
Maybe
that's
we're getting
why...
to that point. I mean, that last year was already bad enough for Ubisoft and all that, but this year with Evolve and all these other things,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's going downhill quick.
Not to circle back one more time, but I mean, I think that's why we're starting to see what we are with Evolve, which I didn't actually mention at the top when I meant to. But I've been watching, and Brad knows this because I've been checking out during my time at work. But I've been checking the Metacritic this week like crazy on Evolve, just because since I was so close to getting it, I was curious to see how it was going to do. And it's very interesting what's going on because all of the critical reviews are relatively good to, I don't want to say good to great, but they're about in the 80 range, somewhere in the mid 80s.
Yep.
All of the user reviews are down like 4 out of 10.
Wow.
I mean, it's really, and this is the nature of the internet and the nature of user reviews and all of that is that it's all. And Brad and I were talking about this earlier at work too. It's all either 0 or 10.
yeah, that's
There's
exactly
very
what
little
it
in the
is.
middle.
Right, but see that's a perfect example of like so people who work in like a call center, right? They get evaluated on their performance, and people inside the company are evaluating their own people, and they get like a score of like 99. Our quality score has been 98% for 10 years. And then you've got this customer satisfaction survey, and your customers say you're at a 60, but you say you're at a 96. So that's the number I'm going to report because it makes me look better. And I care about customer service. I say it's important, but look how well that's working out for Comcast. That joke will never die. But there was a second one the other day. But so this is the exact same thing. The publisher relies on the gaming reviews. They cherry pick the statements. Then they go out there. I mean, I don't want to say that they're not being critical of it.
Here's what I think's going on.
But I
here.
think customers have a right to be mad because it's stupid.
Yeah.
Here's what I think is going on here. If you take a look at the reviews, the critical reviews tend to be based on the main criticism is the storyline. It's not the storyline, but I mean like the game, the way things progress as you move through the game. The fact that you have to unlock hunters as you go. The number of matches you have to play, how long it takes to unlock things like that. All the users are talking about is the DLC. That they hate. I mean, that's their main takeaway. That's why they're rating it so low. Is because this is the most important. This is what I think is the biggest problem with the game is the fact that there's so much that I have to buy to go with it.
I think
Whereas
it's
the
fair.
critics are saying, I think the biggest challenge with the game is that it's a game of cat and mouse. There's a lot of downtime while you're waiting to find the thing. The match is either too easy or it's too hard based on who you're playing against and how good they are. Things like that, the kind of gameplay elements. And I think the reasoning behind that separation there, I think, is because the reviewers are playing the review copy. They didn't have to put any money down for it. They don't have any investment in it. Whereas anybody out there from the user reviews, not to say that all of those zeros are justified.
Yeah.
But, I mean, these are people that got burned with their wallets because they bought into the hype. They laid out their own money for it. Some of them may have gone in for the season pass. Or some of the DLC.
Oh, I should know. Evolve Season Pass does not give you all the DLC. You buy the Season Pass, and then you buy more stuff on
That's
top of that.
correct.
Hunters are not included in the DLC or the Season Pass.
Yep, and that is a major gripe. So you know
All this
what?
stuff,
All those gamers that are
microtransactions.
out there hating, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, it reminds me of Microsoft's, not to go too much off track, but Microsoft E3 2013, which we've mentioned ad nauseum, maybe, at this point.
We have.
But you try to screw people over, you're going to get burned. People aren't dumb. I mean, some people are dumb. A lot of people are dumb. That's what season passes sell.
We went from people aren't dumb to a lot of people are dumb.
Well,
we worked our way back.
I'm
up
trying
there.
to
Easily the top 10 games of all time.
I'm trying to ease my statements. I'm trying
Top
not to
20.
be too hyperbolic.
Brad Wallace.
But
Baby Snake.
anyways. No, but like, I don't know. Like, you try to screw people over, they're going to bite back. You can't. Microsoft treated those customers like crap. They treated their Xbox fan base, whatever you want to call it, like, that's about as anti-consumer as you could possibly be. Like, you, the consumer, are the reason any of these people have careers. You're the reason, Cliffy B has a Corvette or whatever he drives. Like,
Oh my God.
Like, why would you try to screw those people over? You should be treating them like royalty. And for a long time, Nintendo was doing that. They always put out these finished, high-quality games. They've never, until maybe recent years, seemed like they're trying to nickel and dime you and try to scam you and rip you off. Maybe some overpriced hardware and maybe games that aren't quite up to quality standards. But, I mean, they've always been a company that, by and large, they've always delivered on everything, and they've always treated their customers extremely well. But you don't always see that, especially third party. Heck no.
Yeah.
But Microsoft was just the most notorious example of that. Like, they're literally just like openly, and they try to spin it like it's friendly, like there's online features and
Idiots.
like you're screwing people, and they're gonna start to notice, and they're gonna bite back. And that's why we don't have an Xbox One that requires Kinect and requires an internet connection and all this stuff.
Yeah. All right, next let's move on
me.
to games as a DLC platform. Like ones that are built from the ground up, as has been said about Evolve. Not to keep circling back too much and beating on the same dead horse.
It's in the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah, but I mean, games that are built to have DLC as a core part of the experience. Things like Rock Band, where the idea is you buy the game, and then the business model for them is them selling you new song packs and things like that. As you go.
I was a sucker for those. We mentioned it on the.
I'm
Music
shocked
Games
by
podcast,
that, by the
but
way.
I bought a lot of those.
No.
That was back in the day. That was high school Brad.
God.
He was a different person.
Come on, you and Kyle sit here and talk back and forth every other week about, oh man, we're gonna go listen to song, going to the concert, I got my ticket. Come on.
I know. Well, at least with the area, you're paying for the music too. Like it's like buying iTunes. There's no reason. It's awful. I'm sorry. If there was a free Rock Band, it would have been worth it. But Rock Band was not free. Rock Band was $60. No, God no.
And
Rock
back in
Band is
high school-
$150.
That was crazy.
All right. So then on the other side of things, you have things like the most recent Killer Instinct game.
Or like Dota or any of those. Free to play where you're buying cosmetics and characters.
Yeah, but I mean, you get in Killer Instinct, you get what, 2 characters to start
a
with?
month. They cycle them out in months.
Okay.
That's what League of Legends does too. Every month there's different characters for free. And you can just pay to have them all, which is, I don't know, it's smart.
Yeah. So, this is an interesting factoid to talk about what we're talking about, Rock Band. And apparently, to buy all of the Rock Band content cost you $9,150.10.
That's absurd.
That's a business
And
model.
somebody did that.
Yeah.
Well,
Several somebodies, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Brad was almost one of them.
Oh, God, no.
it's a lot of SD cards.
I bought like maybe 3 song packs. I bought a Rush one. I bought a Metallica one.
Coldplay.
Yeah, Coldplay. No. Gosh, I can't remember. Like probably Linkin Park or something stupid like that. I'm sorry. I like Linkin Park. In the end, doesn't even matter.
We're
All
gonna
right.
pay for that.
I'm sorry.
So what kind of games from a design standpoint make sense as a DLC platform?
Free to play games. And
Okay.
That's it.
Because
I don't
at that point you don't have to worry about justifying the original purchase.
Actually, I will say multiplayer games in general, which free-to-play games vast majority are. But anything where you can pay for kind of auxiliary content like cosmetics and all this stuff, or even core content like characters. It's not. I mean, you don't see that in single-player games. You don't see that in like good single-player games necessarily. Like you see it in Assassin's Creed.
But
and
isn't
stuff.
the almighty Apple, didn't they just like change their entire App Store policy on games where it was listed as free and now it's listed as get?
Yeah, well, that's
The almighty Apple.
Yeah, I know. I'm not, you can knock.
Almighty.
I love them, but I mean, with like Dota 2, it makes perfect sense to me. Like as a DLC platform, like that's reasonable to me. I wouldn't pay for it necessarily. I wouldn't buy skins for my Dota characters, but I don't know. Like Rock Band
Or
makes sense in
character.
theory, but like I said, there should be a free Rock Band, and then you buy the songs you want. Obviously, this is before, internet distribution was as big as it is now for games, but I don't know. Multiplayer games like that, it makes sense.
I don't know. I don't buy that free Rock Band and then buy what you want, because I don't remember if it was Rock Band or Guitar Hero, but one of the mobile games did that, where they gave it to you. It was, I think it was either free or like 99 cents or something like that. You got like 6 songs,
Yeah.
which was absolute crap, and then you're entirely reliant on when they roll out it was probably Guitar Hero, because the selection wasn't great. But you're entirely, in order to enjoy the game at all, you're entirely at the mercy of what DLC they roll out and when they roll it out.
What they need to do is, in a hypothetical Rock Band relaunch, next gen, maybe, whatever, is do have it as a platform where it's free to download the Rock Band app for your PlayStation, for example. And then launch it with a ton of music, like an iTunes store level of just like tons of albums, artists, you name it. You can buy individual songs for $1 something. You can buy albums for $10, whatever it is. That makes perfect sense to me. It's almost like, imagine this. Imagine the retail copy of like Rock Band 2 as like a season pass of DLC. And you're going to get weird crap in there like Dinosaur Jr. that nobody cares about. But that way you pick what you want. You're not being bundled, actually, speaking of like season passes. You're not being bundled with all this music and songs you'll never touch. Like, Gwen Stefani or whatever's on there. Like, I don't know.
Hey, people like Gwen.
Yeah.
I approve.
She's bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Nintendo bananas. Oh, that has to be the intro music. Is B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
I don't think I can get the rights to it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We just have to make commentary about it, and then it's
I
fair
could
use.
I could sing it, sing it, and be like B-A-N, and it could be terrible.
We got to get like the speak and spell or the B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
Okay. So let's wrap this whole discussion up on DLC.
Yep.
What makes for successful DLC?
Nothing. It's awful.
Yeah, I think it's just
I'm
burn.
just kidding.
No, really, I don't like it in general. I mean, actually, it's funny. I think Amiibo, like fun little figurines where you actually get something out of it, kind of works. So, hey, I mean, it's expensive, but I get something cool out of it.
The value of Amiibo is that it's a physical figurine that happens to give you little perks.
In-game,
They're not even in depth.
No, but why not? I think that works. It's like a side benefit of wanting to collect super cool toys. I don't know.
Yeah.
Disney Infinity's
I
doing
would pay $10 for these figures, like if they had no.
Rumor has
game.
it that Blizzard is talking about doing some of this for World of Warcraft, getting little figurines,
or even their Heroes of the Storm,
or
something like
yes.
That'd be cool. I would so buy Lost Vikings in a heartbeat.
You would go. Rob, we'd never see you again because you'd be broke.
I would love to have a Hearthstone physical card game, but there's so much of that wouldn't work with physical cards because it's like effects that
half the
pull
fun
out
is
of
the animations.
You could have a fake wooden coin that when you flip it over, you're like, "Ha ha! I just shot you with my fireball." Wow,
that was really great.
Hey,
fire Troy Baker, get Nick to do your.
I can do some things well, but not that.
Okay, so we're saying the only way for DLCs to be successful is if you have something else physical maybe to show for it.
The only good DLC is a dead DLC.
Wow.
You should put that in the description for this show. That won't get any eyeballs at all. People be like, what? What are they saying? I like DLC, man.
There's a lot of suckers out there that probably do like
You
DLC.
are terrible.
There's a lot of morons out there.
God, they're so stupid.
No, there's if it's your thing, like Halo.
A fairly negative turn here.
But funny,
like,
so...
You feel like your map packs and your doodads and your characters and your, whatever.
As long as it's couched in laughter, it's okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right, let's
not
end
a
things.
fan.
Let's try to end things on a bit of a positive note here.
Oh, there's positivity in this show. What?
We're gonna give it a shot anyway.
Sweet.
All right, it's time for a poll position. This is the weekly segment where we take a poll, we state our position, and we open up to the listeners for them to weigh in as well online via a graphic that'll post tomorrow. Please comment on it.
Facebook.
Do it.
This week, kind of going with the fact that it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. And kind of branching off of what was the original idea for this show, I was thinking about doing something that was a little bit more of a direct tie into Valentine's Day, and eventually decided not to, and just to do something else instead.
I'm really glad we didn't, because the level of awkward that conversation would have gone on.
Yeah,
especially at this table with you two. Just saying.
What are you trying to say?
So anyway, where we're going with here is the pole position question for this week, and we'll try to knock through this pretty quickly so we can end this one. What's the best game or series to share with a non-gamer? If you have a significant other, hence the Valentine's Day connection, what's the best game to try to get to not necessarily bring them into gaming, because when does that ever work? But at least, spend some time together. What do you pull out?
Well,
let's not look to that any farther. Let's not do that.
Being that I am the married one at this table, and that certainly isn't happening. Look, so... I'm just playing the stereotypes. Come on. So, I mean, look, when you talk about girlfriend games, I'll tell you.
That's sexist.
When it's
it could be a boyfriend game, too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. Whatever. I don't know. Some of them might actually say, no, it's girlfriend. I'm just saying. Anyway, so I think that sitting down and playing, which is not really allowed in my house, hence why I have a portable.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha.
It just doesn't happen.
Portable wife? What?
Oh, no, God. Inflatable. Is is like Mario Kart's a great game.
I was literally just about to say Nintendo. If
It's
your
so
significant
easy.
other, you could be
Mario.
a gamer girl out there.
Yeah.
If your significant other doesn't like
And you can
Nintendo
let them win,
games,
which is okay
Yeah.
too, from time to time. Letting
Smash
them
is
win.
even
Yes.
casual enough.
Let them win. Finger quotes.
Where you just wait at the end of the level and go, I don't know, my controller seems to have disconnected as they win. It works like a charm every time. And then they look at you and go, I beat you, and you're like, yes, you did.
Cooperative games are really good. Mario 3D World is a great one because that's a
wants to
3D
do that when
game.
you
It's
could
beautiful
beat somebody?
graphics, and yeah, I know.
I'm just kidding.
Who doesn't want to hit their significant
Oh
other?
my god, I didn't
I'm
say
talking about Smash
someone.
Brothers. Gosh. No,
Mario
but yeah.
Party?
Mario Party was the next. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't like Mario Party, are they really worth being with? I don't think so. I don't think so. Go to the courthouse. Get those papers. Mario Party's a masterpiece.
Top 10 game, Brad?
No. God, no.
Not one of your
Not
top-
even close.
Thank God.
Mario Kart's not in my top 10. Smash Brothers isn't in my top 10. See,
What?
I'm more critical than you guys think.
I don't know if I agree with you on any of the things that you just said.
All right.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
All right.
Oh, actually, I will say certain licensed games. I've heard one of my buddies, his girlfriend, is super into like the Batman games.
Oh, that's
she doesn't
cool.
play any other games, but like if they're a fan of the character, like Alien is a
That's
game I like to
cool.
talk about. If they're a big Alien fan, then my God, Alien Isolation is like the best thing you could ever play. Batman's a great example. Shadow Mordor, I haven't played it, but if you like Lord of the Rings, that's presumably a good choice.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. If it is something they like, and you
But there's a
are,
license
But there's
they can
so
grab
much.
onto.
Yeah.
There's so much garbage licensed game out there.
well, but
It's
you
kinda
are
hard to-
you are a fortunate individual if your significant other and or attachment is into those kinds of games. That you're very lucky.
Yeah.
Most aren't.
Otherwise, you're playing on your portable because she's watching her stories.
Yes, with headphones cranked as loud as I can.
Certain games lend themselves to
Off
a
TV
wider
play.
audience too. Like Portal is one.
Okay,
Like, tons of non-gamers will play Portal.
For the puzzle.
Even like puzzle games like Picross. My girlfriend plays Picross all the time. She's not a big gamer, but that's just a fun
casual,
puzzle game.
Casual stuff.
Yeah, even like Tetris. God, who doesn't play Tetris? Like, who doesn't like Tetris? You know,
Tetris
Dr.
is-
Mario,
Dr. Mario
I
for that matter.
love Dr.
Bejeweled, Match 3 kind of games or whatever they're called.
Puzzles and Dragons, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Lots of stuff
Well,
out there.
That's it for this week. Join us next week when we talk multiplayer gaming. Nicholas, take us out.
Well, if you're listening, which you obviously are because you were going to hear me say this, you can check us out on all the various interwebs connections, iHeartRadio and iTunes. Check it out. Like us on Facebook. Interact. Rob's going to post that graphic, so you should comment. You can follow us on Twitter at GamerFeedRadio. We got a website. What's that? You can check it out. There's cool and original content there. Always coming at you. And we're on Twitch from time to time, so check out Facebook so you can see it. Until next time, gamers. Peace.